Many travelers believe that once they pass through airport security, the hardest part is over. The bags are scanned, the metal detector is cleared, shoes are back on. From that point on, most people assume they are fully approved to continue toward the gate without interruption. In 2026, that assumption is often wrong. Across airports worldwide, passengers are being pulled aside after security screening more frequently than before. This does not always mean something was found, it does not always mean a rule was broken. In many cases, it means a system flagged something that requires confirmation. In this video, we explain what can get travelers pulled aside after security screening, why it happens even when nothing is wrong, and how these situations are usually triggered long before the traveler realizes it. This is not about fear, it's really about understanding how modern airport systems work. Security screening does not end at the scanner. You know, many travelers think of security as a single checkpoint. In reality, security screening is a layered process. So, in 2026, clearance is actually assessed through a few different methods. These include scanning equipment, behavioral observation, random selection systems, and data checks that are tied directly to boarding systems. Passing through the scanner, well, it really only clears one layer, not all of them. And you know, this is why travelers may be stopped again, even after appearing fully cleared. One of the most misunderstood reasons travelers are pulled aside is, honestly, random selection. Random screening is actually built into airport security systems. Random selection can happen, well, immediately after screening, while you're walking toward the exit, or even near the recomposure area. This selection is not personal. It doesn't mean the traveler looks suspicious or did anything wrong. Even when a bag passes through the scanner, images may still be reviewed later. If an image was unclear, showed overlapping density, or contained complex layering, it may need to be checked by hand. Sometimes security staff may request a manual review. This often happens after the traveler has already moved forward. The traveler usually experiences this as being pulled aside, but actually the trigger happened back at the scanner. Certain clothing items and accessories, you know, are more likely to trigger follow-up checks. These include things like layered clothing, thick belts, accessories worn close to the body, and items with embedded materials. Sometimes alarms are not resolved immediately. If the system requires confirmation, the traveler may be stopped after the initial screening area. Large electronics are a common cause of secondary checks. This includes laptops, tablets, camera equipment, and gaming devices. So, if electronics were not positioned clearly during scanning, or if, you know, multiple devices overlapped, images may need clarification. Even if the traveler followed instructions, the system may still require confirmation. Liquids are screened carefully, but honestly, food items often create confusion. Certain foods have densities similar to restricted items when scanned. So, just to give you a few examples, these can include spreads, powders, and dense packaged foods. If the system flags any kind of ambiguity, security may pull the traveler aside to resolve it. And, you know, this can actually happen even after the traveler believes that screening is complete. Many travelers, honestly, just relax immediately after clearing security. Some people rush, while others just stop suddenly, and you know, some begin rearranging their bags in really crowded areas. In 2026, behavior after screening is still being observed. Actions that may attract attention include ignoring instructions, blocking flow areas, appearing agitated or rushed, and, repeatedly returning to screening zones. These behaviors do not imply wrongdoing, but they can prompt staff to intervene for clarification or safety. Busy airports operate under pressure. This can feel confusing to travelers. They assume clearance was final. Sometimes, secondary inspections are actually moved away from the main screening area just to help reduce congestion. Travelers may be escorted to a nearby space for things like bag opening, item clarification, or even swab testing. This really doesn't mean the issue is serious, it's just that staff are managing the flow while they complete their procedures. In 2026, security systems are increasingly integrated with airline and airport data. This means that, boarding information, identity verification, and travel pattern checks all play a role. These can trigger follow-up screening. These flags may appear just moments after a traveler clears the physical scanner. Travelers using medical devices or assistance equipment may be stopped for confirmation. This includes, mobility aids, medical accessories, and specialized equipment. Even when documentation exists, staff may need to confirm details visually. These checks are procedural, not personal. Being pulled aside feels uncomfortable. Travelers often interpret it as suspicion. In most cases, it is not. Security staff are following system alerts, procedural requirements, and random selection protocols. When stopped after screening, some reactions make the situation worse. So, there are a few things you really want to avoid in this situation: arguing, raising your voice, explaining excessively, and, making jokes. These behaviors, honestly, just slow resolution, and, they can also trigger additional checks. Security procedures are designed to conclude quickly when cooperation is clear. Security volume has increased, automation has increased, tolerance for uncertainty has decreased. As a result, systems flag more situations for confirmation rather than risk missing something. While random checks cannot be avoided, travelers can reduce risk by organizing bags clearly, separating electronics properly, minimizing dense food items, wearing simple clothing, and following instructions carefully. These steps improve image clarity and system confidence. Why being pulled aside does not mean travel trouble. Most secondary checks end quickly. They rarely affect boarding unless, time runs out, the traveler escalates the situation, or an unresolved issue remains. Understanding the process reduces anxiety and helps travelers respond appropriately. Final reminder, being pulled aside after security screening is not a verdict. It is, just a verification step. In 2026, verification happens more often, more quietly, and more systematically than before. Travelers who understand this experience fewer surprises and move forward with less stress. In the next video, we will explain why airlines are stricter about personal items now, and how that affects boarding decisions. In the next video, we will explain why airlines are stricter about personal items now, and how that affects boarding decisions.